Shalom, family. Good to see everybody here. Hope you're doing well. Man, do I have something to show y'all. And you know what this means, y'all? It is amazing how all this time in this Gentile world, we have been the most hated people on the planet. Even people that never had any conversation or contact with us, one thing they do is hate us, even when they don't know us. And we have seen group after group, foreigner after foreigner come into this land and do everything to avoid us. And when they get the opportunity to be racist, that's exactly what they are. We have seen it. But one thing we are seeing in these final days, ladies and gentlemen, we are the most sought after people on this earth. You notice nobody's asking white people to come and help. You notice not one group on this planet is calling for white people's help. But you know who they're calling for? Us. I don't care what group it is. If you go on TikTok, I kid you not, you'll see Arabs asking us to come together with them. You'll see East Indians asking us to come together, Mexicans, Palestinians. You'll see Asians. There's even Asians. Oh, the Black community, I know we haven't had the best relationship, but let's try to unite, And now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we all got the same common enemy. Oh, no, you were siding with these folks and claiming to be just like them. So let's talk about, and we also have the Jewish community, which was upset with us because when that Hamas fight jumped off, they were coming on and demanding that we, you know, back them up. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that, right? And one thing I am sick of, and I wish each and every one of you group, and I know y'all in the background watching, I know you are. I wish y'all would stop referencing Black Lives Matter. Okay? I wish y'all would stop doing that because many of you, I think, are very disingenuous. Ain't no way all of you MFers were out there. In fact, I think you're just saying it on video. You didn't participate in the marches. Get the hell out of here. When you go out there, you don't see, y'all ain't out there like that. If you, the way y'all talk, you would think y'all were like half the crowd. You weren't. And I know damn well many of you that are on these videos, you weren't hardly participating in those marches. You are doing everything you can to manipulate us into going out there. That's all it's about at the end of the day. You're just trying to manipulate us so we'll go on them streets. You weren't out there. And then we always got the Martin Luther King crowd. Do you know how long ago that is? Personally, I think is pretty pathetic that the last time you had interaction with Black people was the Martin Luther King civil rights marches. That's pretty pathetic. You're talking about the 60s and we're in 2025, and a lot of the people that you're talking to weren't even born then. Okay? So no, you're not going to get the reaction you're looking for because a lot of the crowd that you're referencing on video weren't even around when the civil rights marches were going on. And and many of you weren't out there either, because I'm looking at the age of many of you when you are sitting on your video saying, we were out there with Dr. Martin Luther King. First of all, you look like you're in your 20s and 30s. You don't look like you were out there with Dr. Martin Luther King. Y'all just stop. Stop already. Stop with the bullshit. We have seen our people fall unarmed at the hands of cops. And then you come back with all these lame excuses. Well, they should have cooperated. I don't care if the person didn't cooperate. That does not warrant death. Well, why don't y'all just shut up and just do what the cops say? Because when we do shut up and do what the cops say, we still end up dead. How many of you have stood up when the verdict comes in and say, you know what, that was not a fair verdict. That was not right. That cop was wrong. Nope, y'all side with the cop every single time. It don't matter what the cop do. It don't matter what he says. It don't matter if that cop didn't follow procedures. You side with the cop each and every time. It's not just white people that do that. You foreigners do that mess too. Y'all do that mess too. Because y'all will go on videos. Oh, well, they caused their own death. I've seen y'all do this. I've seen you do it. And one thing each and every one of you have never done since I've been on social media, one thing I can say for a certainty, none of you have ever done anything to earn our respect. None of you. But what you do is demand we do something for nothing. That's what you do. You demand something for nothing. And you know damn well if we step out in those streets or we support you, when the next thing happened to somebody in our community, you ain't going to be there because the history shows you're not going to be there. We had to go it alone for 500 years up in here. 500 years. We had no one to lean on. We had no one in the legal system to help us. We've had no cop say, you know what, this was wrong. No, because you have that blue code of silence. And many of you groups got your own individual codes of silent too, because many of you will either go silent or you'll mock us. When Trayvon Martin happened and we raised our voices about it, y'all mocked it. You even came up with something called Trayvoning, a bunch of white guys laying on the floor with some Skittle and tea. That's what you did. And how would you like if one of your sons and daughters got killed and we put on a blonde wig and we lay on the floor and we mock them? How would you feel about that? See, it ain't in us to do anything that devilish. It ain't in us to do that. But y'all will do it. So the next time some little white girl get killed, we should put a little blonde wig on and just lay across the floor. Oh, they would be outraged. They would be outraged. And remember, they were mocking the death of George Floyd. They would lay, one of the white guys would lay down and another one would put their knee on his shoulder. Yeah, see, that's what y'all do. And these same groups of people that do the mocking, you want us by your side when things go wrong for you. All I've seen is every single group on this planet, you're all selfish and self-centered, and you don't worry about or think about anyone but yourself. Because I have seen each and every one of you when something happens, whether it's a war or This government fires you, or you have something happen, like with the ICE raids. All of a sudden, you know who we are. All of a sudden, you want to have conversations with us. You want us to just come and coddle you and hold your hand. Each and every one of you are selfish. And I'm glad we're not coming out there for you. The only time you'll open your mouth up to us is when something has gone wrong for you. Prior to Gaza, how many people had conversations with Palestinians? Put a one in the comment if you, prior to any war, how many of you had conversations with Palestinians? Put a one for yes or a two for no. How many? All right, so there's a two. How many of you had conversations with Mexicans before the ICE raids? Put a one in the comment for yes and a two for no. Mhm. See, this is what I'm talking about. The majority of you are too. Now, let's get to the Jews. Now, we saw how y'all all dogpiled Kyrie Irving over a documentary because he posted a link. And yeah, I stood up for him because that's a Hebrew brother. So that's my people. So yes, I stood up for him. I did. I did. But let me tell you about my relationship with them. Now, for the most part, I have worked with them before. And my observation, this is how they are. They don't really talk or interact with us that much on jobs. I would see them there, but they didn't really. You know what they would do? They would pretty much be around the Anglos over us. And that's, I can understand that because y'all all the same complexion. So I get it. But y'all really ain't but so nice in the workplace when we're there. Now, there was one woman, and I remember her name was Elaine Ostroff. She and I got off to a rocky start. We when we encountered each other, it was not good. And things didn't somewhat get better until I was leaving for another job. And all of a sudden, this woman, she just became kinder and nicer to me. And we would interact here and there. And I remember when I was leaving my final day, she was so upset I was leaving because at that time, for like the last few months I was there on the job, we did start talking a little more. And she was a Jewish woman. But prior to that, y'all, for the most part, y'all don't really interact with us, even when you're around us. Y'all don't go out of your way to interact with us like that. That's my observation. So, y'all, I I feel a bit offended that many of these people have been here 20 and 30, 40, 50 years, and they have avoided us for that long. And like I said, we can encounter some of these people on jobs, and they won't really talk to you that much unless they absolutely have to. That was my experience with a lot of the Jewish people I worked with. I mean, they would speak, but they will only speak if they needed something from me in order to do their job. But other than that, they really didn't talk to us that much. They really didn't. And that's the honest truth. But yes, I feel, I don't know how many of you feel, I feel offended that people that hate us all of a sudden know us, it's offensive to me. And I don't know. I guess what kind of relationship? This is my question for all of you foreigners, and what kind of relationship are you looking for from us? Just us do for you? Because that's what it really, because that's all you're saying. You're not trying to make amends for all the things that happened and all the racism. You're not trying to make amends for that. But you just want us to push everything aside in our lives and be there for you. So what kind of relationship are you looking for? You're looking for a Miss Ann relationship? Driving Mrs. Daisy kind of relate. What kind of relationship are you looking for with us? I'm asking all of you. I'm asking the Jews. I'm asking you Arabs, Palestinians, Mexicans, Africans, and I'm gonna get to you Africans next because I'm going to tell you my observation of Africans on jobs too. So, what kind of relationship are you looking for with us? Really, what are you looking for? Because it seems like y'all want a Miss Ann kind of relationship where we just put on our cape and run out there and protect you. I'm not going to do the Miss Ann relationship. I'm sorry. Mm-mm. We ain't doing no Miss Ann up in here. Now, let's get to the Africans. I have worked with some Africans before. And one thing I notice about the Africans will have their mouths wide open when it comes down to interacting with the white people on the job. When it comes down to the black people on the job, they walk past us like we're wallpaper. I have seen that from multiple Africans that I have worked with. I have. They'll dart over to a white person and have a conversation with them, and you could be standing right there and they won't even say nothing. I've experienced that on jobs where I saw you literally every day. So, I got my pet peeves about all of you, and it's only from life experience. I'm not, see, here's the difference between me and many of you. I draw my conclusions from actual experience I had around you. You're drawing your conclusion based on your mama and your daddy told you to stay away from us. Well, what kind of bullshit is that? Okay? What kind of bullshit is that? So if I feel a certain way about you, that's because of the experiences I had around you. It ain't because my mama and my daddy told me something. But see, that is how y'all act out against us. Oh, stay away from them. Oh, no, don't marry them. Stay away from them. See, you're going by what you're told. I'm going by my actual experience with many of you. Hmm. In fact, I remember I had and when I was in the fifth grade, there was one Jewish boy in my class. One, one that was in there. And I remember he would always take off for their holiday. That boy ain't never talked to us. He only ran around with the Anglo students. Okay, he was friends with them. He was friends with the Anglos. But as far as us melanated people up in the room, he didn't really deal with us. And we sat in the same classroom every single day. That's why I'm saying y'all keep trying to fake up these relationships that never happened. And it's just you're just trying to manipulate us, and I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. You may not like everything I say, but one thing it is, it's real. We never had to manipulate anybody to be on our side because we already naturally knew none of y'all of different groups and races and ethnicity. We always knew you weren't coming for us. You weren't going to come and be a real ally and a friend to us. And what's up with this black brown coalition? It never happened. Why should we talk about some shit that never happened? You know, and listen to this woman. I'm going to play the video. I want y'all to listen. They went on a Gullah Geechee tour. This woman stood up and she started the conversation. She was upset, saying that black people turned on them, turned on the Jews, which we didn't. We didn't. Who did we turn on? We're always being accused of something. That's another thing I'm sick of. We always getting accused of something. What did we do? Other than we said we gonna look out for ourselves. We ain't gonna be there for nobody, but are we gonna look at and take care of ourselves? All of a sudden, that looks like we've turned on you. Somebody's always making some damn accusation against us. They seriously got a persecution complex. They always got to be sitting around accusing us of something. They be lying on you and everything. All right, y'all, I'm going to share my screen. Let me calm down. I'm going to share my screen so we can get into what this woman said. All right, y'all, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you. All right, y'all, let's get started.
Both our black neighbors to support them during civil rights, and then, goddammit, you turned on us.
Wow.
When? What happened? Black Lives Matter. Who did you hate the most? The Jews. We are bleeding about that.
Wow.
Because we were raised to love you, to care, to open our hearts, and not just, I mean, at my dinner table in the projects, in a little 600 square foot apartment for 5 of us, not wealthy.
Yeah.
Blacks were at our table because they were our neighbors. And yet you turned on us. How did that happen? And when we asked some of the black commentators, do most blacks hate Jews? They said yes, most blacks hate Jews. How did that happen?
Please.
Yes.
So, and you can look this up. The biggest importer of slaves were Jewish people, and they were partly Jewish people in America. It wasn't the Germans. If you look this
Yes,
up,
they weren't Germans.
a lot of the ships were Jewish ships.
Probably, maybe.
Very true, and you can look this up.
All right, so am I guilty?
No, you're not guilty.
Well,
I'm painting a picture, okay? So let me explain something to you. So not only were you guys also you helped with the Underground Railroad, but you also enslaved a lot of black. A lot of your ships were Jewish ships. So although sometimes it seems like you're helping us and you're grabbing our hand, at the same time you've done a lot of bad to us as well. And now what people like to do nowadays, they like to blame everything on you. Like other white races and nationalities, they blame it on you. Like, well, the Jewish people, they own slaves, and a lot of it is put on you. But you guys were also a part of that. A lot of times, a lot of our politicians are Jewish. Democratic politicians are Jewish
I'm
people.
not a Democrat.
So, no, and it doesn't matter. No, it's not that point. But a lot of Democratic politicians are Jewish people.
Yes, they are.
And what they do, they act like they're holding your hand. We're here to help you. We're here to do this for you,
Well,
the black
what
people.
would you rather do? How would you rather?
Well, this is. I'm just painting a picture. A lot of times, just so you understand.
So how? Okay. So my people.
Yeah.
Every country we've ever been in, we've been thrown out of. Not allowed to own property. Not allowed to own property. Not allowed to be in the professions. So way back in biblical times, who were the money counters? The Jews, because they were not allowed any other profession. And the church said you can't be the money lender. So the Jews were. Okay. When I was growing up, my parents didn't have a pot to piss, and what they taught us was you get educated. Because wherever they throw you out, you take your brain with you. You take your education. So Jews became the lawyers, the doctors. You know, they didn't become farmers because we weren't allowed to own any land. But look at the history. We couldn't own any property.
But I want
We
to
were
say
not allowed.
one last thing to that point. We don't hate you. A lot of times now with the awakening, what he's explaining, we understand that it hasn't always been this friendly relationship with us. And
so
you,
where does
learning
it go
our
now?
history.
So when we came during civil rights, when the Jews stood up, the first boys who came to the South were Jewish boys, all got killed. Where are you now when we have all this anti-Semitism? Well, where are you standing up and watching our backs when we have all this anti-Semitism?
We kind of have our own issues, and we're kind of at a point in history now where we're like focused on us because we realize a lot of entertainers who own the entertainment industry and the music industry, they all are Jewish people at the top. Hollywood.
What about your guys just now?
No, the rappers, I get it. No, I'm with you.
Just got
no. So this is my last point. I just want you to understand, we don't hate you. It's not. I don't ever want you to think our people hate you. But we're also at a point in time where we're learning so much, and we see what everybody has done, even the Jewish people.
Even the Jewish people, all of us.
We see that now.
You guys got a shitty rap. There's no question.
I learned that you guys own the most spaceships. Like, nobody talks about that, though. Everybody talks about everything else. But what we're saying is, hey, we're going to focus on us. We're learning our information, and we're becoming the best version of ourselves because we've been down for over 400 years, and our life has been dim for a long time.
Well, so you're not going to rise up by stepping on us.
No,
we stepping on y'all.
Yes, we are.
Do you think black people are hateful people? Let's be honest.
As a basic
400 years, have we not taken
basic people, no, I don't.
Thank you. So I don't ever want you to feel like a narrative is that black people hate you.
I think at this time, at this time, when the anti-Semitism.
Where do you get that from that we hate you?
Yeah,
where did that come from?
Black Lives Matter.
So Black Lives Matter is not us.
Not us.
Black Lives Matter, that's those are lesbians. That is not us. They took our name.
That's not us.
Somebody said something?
I said we get grouped in the Black
Lives Matter.
We feel the same way. We feel the same way that you do. We feel the same way that you do. Why are
but
we?
But then understand this.
Go ahead, honey.
Only
Go ahead.
Understand this. The Black Lives Matter is ran by a white man.
Yep, owns it. Who
He owns Black Lives Matter.
Oh my God. We gotta find him.
No, we don't. We don't. We're not thinking about it.
We gotta find nobody.
Take him off the earth.
So, ma'am, I want you to understand, if you start doing, like, just the research behind this stuff, like you mentioned Black Lives Matter, and you kind of grouped us all in that. Like, this
we're not.
But you said that Black Lives Matter is hateful and they hate Jewish people. Why do they hate them? We don't hate them. We hate that you took Black Lives Matter, took our essence,
like they always
created the organization, and then funded yourself and created millionaires off of it, and wasn't off of our hurt and pain. So a lot of times, what you realize with the music, movies, Black Lives Matter, they take our essence because guess what? Guess who has the strongest essence around the world?
our moral fiber, what we've been through, they look at Black Americans.
And guess who own all that?
Yep.
The Jewish people.
Well, I don't know any of that.
I
I
know.
don't
But the industry, our talent is music. We are natural orchestrators of music, of movies, the way we present on the screen. Guess who owns those industries?
The
Do
Jewish.
you know how that Broadway, that whole thing came about why the Jews stepped in there, how the Jews started that industry?
I'm not
Was it
sure.
on? Well, check it out. It's really interesting stuff.
But do you get what I'm saying?
I-
As far as you guys own our
But
essence.
hold on.
But
Because-
the true Jews,
Right, there we go.
what we need to understand here, the true Jews is this color.
Right.
The Jewish, the ish, that's y'all. That's
Right.
not us.
You
The true
you said
original
you're
Jews is in the Bible.
Jewish.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
no.
that's the fake Jews. That was the Ashkenazi. That's over there.
Ashkenazi.
I'm the Ashkenazi.
Okay,
Right.
so y'all the fake Jews.
So we're
Oh,
so we're
I'm the Ashkenazi.
Yeah, you the fake
Parents
Jew.
are-
You know the first Jewish people were in Ethiopia, if I'm not
I do
mistaken.
know.
Ethiopia.
I do know. And
Jewish.
when I was my
Where
last
did-
trip to Israel,
Okay.
we were with a they're not an Ethiopian family anymore because they emigrated to Israel.
Right.
Good friends of ours. We spent the day with them. They happen to be very sadly.
Yeah.
They're building when the Israel attacked October 7th last year. They're building the site, and unfortunately, but no, it's very much a part of our history.
So we don't hate you. So I
Yes,
don't want you to.
we'll be
we don't
trying
hate
now
you.
about the Gentiles.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
we
he
keep
also
getting
said
our
that there will
culture
be
to
no
say-
peace
yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
Until he comes, there will be no peace. Has it been peace over there? No,
No.
it has not. Because why? Because the real Jews are not there.
Yeah.
Well, I would debate you there.
No, it's
So-
no debate. That's scripture.
Well,
So-
that's correct, but you know that the King James Bible is not an authentic translation.
Yeah, because
King
y'all
James.
took out. Y'all
Yeah,
took
That's
away.
right. That's right. So we
Not
do.
an authentic.
King
So
James
go
dealt with
to
me.
if you go to the Amharic,
Amharic. I know. So wait. So check it out.
translate word for word, it is not what you
You're right. The King James is not. That's
and
right.
There's a lot of major issues with it.
So check it out. 1948.
Yeah.
The Jewish state, 1948,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So Jewish. They're from Netanyahu is from Poland.
Yeah.
He's Polish.
Yeah.
So they're not from the land.
Most of the people in Israel came from diaspora.
That's right.
All over the world.
All over the world. So
to be there because it was safer.
so understand what you're saying.
All right, so that's where it cuts off, y'all. Now, listen, that conversation got started by the Jewish woman. This was a Gullah Geechee tour they were on. She was the one that turned around in her seat screaming at because you can see the majority of the people on the bus were melanated. She turns in her seat talking about, we hate her. We hate her people. Why do we hate them? Now, I'm going to go back and play this again, and I'm going to stop it in certain places to make comments, okay? So we're going to start it all over again because there are things in here that I think she was very disingenuous about. All right? So she kicked up this conversation on a bus full of melanated people, almost like she was saving this up for a moment when she got around us. That's what I'm taking it as. And another thing I want to say to all of you groups out there, Mexicans, because y'all been heavily using Black Lives Matter in your videos, the vast majority of our community are not part of Black Lives Matter. Let me repeat that again. The vast majority of people in our community are not part of Black Lives Matter. What you think, because the word black is in it, that means all of us are in on it? Nah, it don't work that way, boo-boo. All right? So, and another thing, NAACP, because y'all harped on, for many years, y'all harped on that. The vast majority of the people in our community are not part of the NAACP. We don't give them dues. We don't go to their meetings. We're not part of them. And that also was ran by white people, just like Black Lives Matter, your white faces are behind the whole thing. It was the same way with the NAACP. And many of us have never been participants in the NAACP. So y'all need to stop referencing those things when you have some type of chip on your shoulders that you want to address. Stop addressing those groups. We're not part of that. The majority of us are not, and never have been. Do I believe in that concept? Yeah, our lives do matter. I definitely believe that. But I don't have to believe that and still be part of Black Lives. I can believe that and still be independent of Black Lives Matter. I'm just saying. All right, let's go back, and because there's a couple of things I want to point out in what she said. So I'm going to go back and play this again, y'all.
Both our black neighbors to support them during civil rights, and then, goddammit, you turned on us.
Wow.
What happened? Black Lives Matter. Who did you hate the most? The Jews.
Now, let me stop right there. Now, I ain't going to sit here. I am not going to sit here and let her get away with that. I have never heard anyone on a video or anything else from Black Lives Matter that said they hate the Jews. I have not heard that one time. I have never heard that. And I'm not part of Black Lives Matter, but one thing I can say, I've watched a couple of the videos they did, and not one time did I hear them say they don't like the Jews. I have never heard it one time. Never. I really truly believe she made that up. I have never heard it. Let's go on.
We are bleeding about that. Wow. Because we were raised to love you, to care, to open our hearts, and not just, it's my dinner table in the projects, in a little 600 square foot apartment for 5 of us, not wealthy. Blacks were at our table because they were our neighbors. And yet you turned on us.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't recall this turning on them. I don't recall this, but I have seen racist incidents that they were very much involved in. I have seen that. But as a whole, I have never seen our community say, just turn on them. First of all, you keep trying to create this loving and caring, and you just loved everybody. Many of you say that. Let me just put this out there. Many of you say you love everybody, but the history don't show an outpouring of love, not only from the Jewish community, from any community outside of ourselves. I don't recall this outpouring of love. And I certainly haven't been at your dinner table. So, and I'm being real with you. I certainly haven't been at your dinner table either. How many of you have sat down and broke bread with Jewish people that you lived around? How many? Put a 1 in the comment if you had this loving relationship and broke bread with these people. Put a 1 in the comment if you have. Put a 2 if you have not. How many of you had this loving relationship with these folks in your lifetime? Okay, we're being honest about this. We're being honest. I don't recall these loving relationships, the moments and the times I even worked with y'all. I don't recall all these loving moments with you. You know, I'm sick and tired of y'all acting like we're supposed to fake up some relationship that never happened. It's just like these Mexicans on videos talking about we were so close. Blacks and Mexicans were so close. No, the hell we weren't. No, we weren't. All of y'all are just faking up a bunch of relationships. I don't get it. But no, I don't know where you lived, but you know, I just kind of get the feeling if we interacted with these alleged people you lived around, I bet you their stories would be far different from what you're sitting there saying. I just kind of got that hunch. Let's go on.
How did that happen? And when we asked some of the black commentators, do most blacks hate Jews? They said yes, most blacks hate Jews.
Okay. Who are these commentators? That's very vague. Who are these commentators that you interacted with? And how did a commentator become the voice for the whole community? How did that happen? So when y'all speak, or so is this woman the voice for all Jewish people everywhere? I'm just asking. Who are these people? That's just kind of a blanket statement. It really don't mean nothing. All right, who are these commentators that are just openly saying these things? You know, I go on a lot of videos done by our people. I listen to commentary a lot. Y'all do too. You listen to commentary practically every day. Who's hearing this stuff? I'm just sorry. I mean, I bet I'm exposed to more of the melanated family than this woman is. All right, let's go on, y'all. Mm-mm-mm.
How did that happen?
Please.
Yes.
Um, so, and you can look this up. The biggest importer of slaves were Jewish people, and they were partly Jewish people in America. It wasn't the Germans. If you look this
Yes,
up,
they weren't Germans.
a lot of the ships were Jewish ships.
Probably, maybe.
Very true, and you can look this up.
All right, so am I guilty?
No, you're not guilty.
Well,
I'm.
Okay. See, let me just point something out. When she brought up the point that black commentators said they hated the Jews, right? That's what she said. But when he brought up slavery, look at how she did that. Well, I didn't do it. Well, none of those people on the bus did any commentary and said what you just said. So they can make it an individual. They always do that. When they're trying to get out of something that they know their people did wrong, they turn it into an individual thing. I've been on that for many years now. So if you say this happened to my people, I didn't do it. That is just, they think that's the perfect way out. And it's not. That's not a way out. Sorry, dear. It's not. Okay. I don't know why this man wanted to give her a history lesson. I really think he should not have done all of that babbling back and forth with her. I really don't think he should have done that. This lady ain't interested in no history lesson. She's not. None of them are. Whenever they confront us and make the kind of accusations that she's making, look at every time. Look, for example, if we do a video on slavery, right? What's out of the Anglo's mouth? You hate white people. Okay, telling history is not hating people. It's telling the actual history, it's telling facts. See, they all do that. You can see the Jews do that and the Anglos, they all do it. As soon as you start bringing stuff up, I didn't do that. Nobody said your ass did it. He's just talking about the history. Where in this conversation did he say, you did this to our people? He didn't. But y'all got that. That's a defense mechanism. That's a defense mechanism. And you think, because y'all been taught, because when you hear something too many times, they're taught to do that. Whenever they start hearing about history and it don't make them look good, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. I didn't do it. Nobody said it was you. Nobody said it was you. But you think that's your way out. That's why y'all do that, because you think it's your way out. It's not a way out. Okay. And in my opinion, by doing that, you make the situation worse. All right, let's go on. And let me just elaborate on that. You make the situation worse because what you're trying to do when you say that is diminish the point that someone's trying to make. That's what you're attempting to do by making it an individual thing when it has no individual did all of the history. So it's kind of stupid that you're sitting there talking about, well, I didn't do it. Well, no, but some damn body did. Okay. You can't diminish what we're saying by trying to make it an individual thing. And that's what you're attempting to do. And you're falling flat on your face. Okay. So do you really think somebody's going to stop telling the history because you said I didn't do it? Hell no. History is still going to be spoken about. All right, let's go on.
Painting the picture, okay? So let me explain something to you. So not only were you guys also you helped with the Underground Railroad, but you also enslaved a lot of blacks. A lot of your ships were Jewish ships. So although sometimes it seems like you're helping us and you're grabbing our hand, at the same time you've done a lot of bad to us as well. And now
Okay, let's talk about the Underground Railroad because it's a lot to that than what many might have learned in history. The Underground Railroad was really a sham. Now, did some of them help? Yes, but many of them used the Underground Railroad as a means to raise money. Did you ever learn that? All the people, all especially white people and people that participated in the Underground Railroad, they would talk it up to get donations from people. All right. And much of the donations they placed in their pocket. That's what they did. It was a finesse back in those times. Okay. Anytime they wanted to make money, they would just go on the soapbox about the Underground Railroad and people would donate money and all that money would go in their pockets. And see, this is part of the history that they don't tell you. And many of them that participated in the Underground Railroad, they still did not like us and they were still racist towards us too. And many of them that participated in the Underground Railroad were using the N word back then too. All right. So they didn't like us, but so much. But yes, some of them were helpful. But y'all, at the end of the day, it was about putting money in their own pockets. So let's go on. I know there's some sitting there, that ain't true. I ain't never heard that. Yeah, it's true. It's true, boo boo. It's true. All right. So let's go on.
what people like to do nowadays, they like to blame everything on you. like other white races and nationalities, they blame it on you. Like, well, the Jewish people, they own slaves, and a lot of it is put on you. But you guys were also a part of that. A lot of times, a lot of our politicians are Jewish. Democratic politicians are Jewish people.
I'm not a Democrat.
So, no, and it doesn't matter. No, it's not that point. But a lot of Democratic politicians are Jewish people.
Yes, they are.
And what they do, they act like they're holding your hand. We're here to help you. We're here to do this for you,
well,
the black people.
What would you rather do? How would you rather?
Well, this is. I'm just painting a picture. A lot of times, just so you understand.
So my people.
Yeah.
This is what I would rather for her to do. Let me just say this. If you were genuine, you would make sure we got reparations just like your people got reparations. And those politicians should be working towards that. For this reason, all that reparations, because Obama gave them money, if y'all remember. He did. He gave them money. He gave the Jewish people in this country money when he was in office. Now, if you really, really wanted to do something for us, you would make sure some of that money is funneled to us because we were enslaved, yes, by some Jewish people and the Anglos up in here. Yes. But when you are politicians, you're only concerned for yourself. You don't do anything for us. And y'all can't use affirmative action no more because that's gone. And y'all were lying about affirmative action anyway, because it benefited white women, just like you're lying about DEI that benefited white women. And y'all keep trying to use that as a way of talking about us. It's not talking about us. Every time you talk about that, you're talking about your own women because they were the biggest beneficiary of DEI. So no, we don't need you to hold our hand and then give us a fistful of nothing. If all of you were genuine, when you get in politics, you wouldn't just do for your people and that's it, because that's what most of politics is. Most of politics is doing for a certain segment of people and ignoring everyone else. And it's true. All right. If you got reparations yourself and you know what happened during slavery and the time after that, why aren't you Jewish politicians raising your voices about our reparations when you got reparations up in here? And don't say you didn't, because we can go back to Obama. That was really recent. He made sure y'all got money. Okay, he made sure y'all got money. I remember when it happened. So just remember one thing, each and every one of you, that taxpayer money also came out of our pockets. And here's the amazing thing. When Indians have gotten money, Jewish people got money, and Japanese people, got money. You ain't never heard one of us, after y'all got money, and we say to you what you say to us. I don't want my taxpayer money going towards them, but y'all will form your lips and say you don't want your taxpayer money going towards reparations. We have seen when the Indians got their casinos, how many of our people got up and say, I don't want my money going towards that? We didn't say nothing, but our money certainly did go towards it. But these same people, they will open their mouth and say, I don't want my money to go towards no reparations. But see, we never said that. I think we would I think we would have every right to say that over anyone else up in here. But we haven't. And that's our fault for not speaking out against it. Maybe we should speak out against them getting money like they keep speaking out against us getting reparations. Maybe we should put the same force behind speaking out against them. Oh, it'd be a different story then. They'd be all up in arms about it if we did the same thing to them that they have done to us when it comes down to reparations. Let's go on.
every country we've ever been in, we've been thrown out of. Not allowed to own property, not allowed to own property, not allowed to be in the.
That is not true. That is not true. They have owned property up in here. They had slaves. So how you had slaves with no property? Please, how did they have slaves with no property? Okay, I'm just trying to figure this one out. How did you have slaves and you had no property? Okay, I just need to know this part. She said they could not have property. Then how did y'all have slaves? And don't say you didn't have slaves. I did my family tree. And I saw a lot of people with the names we see that many of the Jewish people have today. And they were plantation owners and they had slaves. So I don't know how they had slaves and nobody could have property. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, I don't know. And y'all, when I did my family tree, there were a lot of people in the South, and y'all can go to the census and see this stuff yourself. I saw it with my own two eyes. There were a lot of people in the South with the last name Hitler back then. When you go and look at the census records, 17, 1800s, and you start looking at how many of these folks had, it was a lot of them that had slaves. Now, I know today they lie and tell us less than 1%. That's a bold-faced lie. It is documented how many slaves they had and which households those slaves were in. It's documented. I don't even know why y'all lying. It's documented. And a lot of y'all had slaves in the South. A lot of you had slaves in the North too. It was the majority of you that had slaves. The majority did. And it was a lot of people during those times with the last name Hitler. And they lived right here in the United States in the South. I saw the names myself when I was researching my family tree. I saw it. And when you go through the census, it was page after page after page of people with the last name Hitler. Tons of them. And I saw the Anglo names and I saw the Jewish names in the census as well. So this lady is full of crap. Y'all had slaves because I saw it, and y'all had property. Let's go on.
Professions. So way back in biblical times, who were the money counters? The Jews, because they were not allowed any other profession, and the church said you can't be the money lender. So the Jews were. Okay. When I was growing up, my parents didn't have a pocket.
Now, my question is, and I'm not quite understanding her point. You are a Jewish woman and you went by according to what the church said. Why would you do that? Isn't the church part of Christianity? So are you saying back then the Jewish people were being dominated by the church? I'm just asking. That's very confusing. I thought y'all were not Christians. Then why would the church tell you as a Jewish person what to do? And y'all complied with it. I'm just asking questions. And no, I'm not asking for a friend. Let's go on.
Listen, what they taught us was you get educated, because wherever they throw you out, you take your brain with you. You take your education. So Jews became the lawyers, the doctors. They didn't become farmers because we weren't allowed to own any land. But look at the history. We couldn't own any property.
But I want
We
to
were
say
not
one last
allowed.
thing. One last thing to that point. We don't hate you. A lot of times now
Right.
with the awakening, what he's explaining, we understand that it hasn't always been this friendly relationship
Okay.
with us and
So
you.
where does it
learning
go
our
now?
history.
So when we came during civil rights,
Right.
when the Jews stood up, the first
Right.
boys who came to the South, the Jewish
Right.
boys, all
Right.
got killed.
Right.
Where are you now when we have all this
No, we
anti-Semitism?
appreciate their
Well, where are you?
Well, you know what? That's problematic there too. Yes, when they were trying to register our people to vote, yes, some of the Jews did go down in the South, but y'all didn't go down there alone. Our people went down there too. Our people went down there from other parts of the country to try to help. Y'all didn't do it alone. And yes, some of the Catholic priests went down, some of our people went down. Yes, there were some Jews that went down, but stop trying to talk like y'all did these things alone. You didn't do it alone. There were other people there too, many other, especially my people. If anything, we were the biggest group down there trying to do things in Mississippi to help the people. We were the biggest ones down there doing it. Let's go on. We got killed too. Y'all didn't, yeah, they took out a few, but they took us out too. More of us than you.
Standing up and watching our backs when we have all the same.
Well, we kind of have our own issues, and we're kind of at a point in history now where we're like focused on us because we realize a lot of entertainers who own the entertainment industry and the music industry, they all are Jewish people at the top. Hollywood.
What about your guy just now?
No, the rappers,
Which one?
I get it. No, I'm with you.
Just got
No,
laid
so
off.
He
this is
did?
my last
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I just want you to understand we don't hate you. It's not. I don't ever want you to think our people hate you, but we're also at a point in time where we're learning so much, and we see what everybody has done, even the Jewish people.
Even the Jewish people, all of us.
We see that now.
You
like,
guys got a shitty rap.
I
There's
learned,
no question.
right? I learned that you guys own the most spaceships. Like nobody talks about that though. Everybody talks about everything else. But what we're saying is, hey, we're going to focus on us. We're learning our information, and we're becoming the best version of ourselves because we've been down for over 400 years, and our life has been dim for a long time.
Well,
So
All right, so let me just elaborate on what he's saying. We are focusing more on ourselves, and I think it goes back to that, y'all. They feel it's problematic that we are saying to ourselves, we are no longer going to go in these streets. We're not going to take up anybody's cause. We're going to focus on ourselves and we're going to stay out of everything. That seems to just trigger something in these people. It seems like they have gotten used to telling us what we need to do, and we just jump up and do it. And now people are telling us what we need to do, and we're pretty much saying no. They are bothered by the fact that we are no longer going to take up their cause. We're not going to console you. We're not going to make you feel better. We are staying out of all of your mess. We're staying out of it. And I really think this is what's triggering these folks, all of them. It's just not her and her people, but literally every single community. And as I said in the beginning, we just overnight, just when we took a step back from everything, we have suddenly become the most sought after people. Everybody's trying to contact us. Everybody's trying to talk to us. Everybody wants us to be there. They want us, front line and center in their protests. They just want us there. They want us there. And they are outdone that we're not there. anymore. They're outdone by it. And I really think that's the root of her problem with us. See, us not participating in everything that happens to these other groups, that looks like hate to her. To her, that looks like hate. No, it's not hate. Y'all focus on yourselves. Y'all do it all the time. You do it all the time. And not one time historically, when y'all were focused on yourselves, did we step in and say, "What about us? What about us? It looks like you hate us. Oh my goodness, y'all got a problem with us." We never did that once. Historically, we have never done that one time, but I'll be damned. Every single group out here got an issue because we are looking out for ourselves. And that's what this is all about at the end of the day, y'all. We're not giving people like her enough attention. So being that we're focused on ourselves, that looks like hate to this woman. You know, we have the right to say, look, we got a lot of problems that we have to fix. We have a lot of things we need to focus on. We need to get back to who we are. We need to focus on the Most High. So the moment we do this, it looks like hate to these other groups. It's not just her. Even the Mexicans are saying that we hate them because we won't join them in the streets. So us looking out for ourselves look like hate to these other groups. Mm, mm, mm. So, well, the civil rights movement, it had its place. And, during those times, our people couldn't go to certain places. We couldn't do certain things, and all of that was out of Jim Crow. Jim Crow was still going on when the civil rights movement was jumping off in the streets of America. Jim Crow was still in full effect. But now we're not in the Jim Crow era, and technically, we're really not in the civil rights era anymore. We're in a whole different era. And this time around, we're doing something that we never got to do before. And that's look out for each other, look out for our group, put ourselves first. Historically, we have never had the opportunity to do it because people always expected so much from us. So, my thing to this woman, if you are allowed to do things with your people without us being involved, we should be able to do the same things without any of you being involved. We haven't been included in everything. In fact, we've been excluded more than included in this country, and that's the truth. I don't know why this woman struck up such a conversation on a tour. But like I said, it must have been something on her mind for a while in order for her to strike up this conversation with a bunch of strangers that you technically did not know on that bus. She didn't know anybody on that bus. She was just taking a tour. Unbelievable, y'all. Everybody wants to get down our throats. I don't care who it is. Everybody is jumping down our throats. Everybody. But no matter what, we must stand on our square and continue on our path of separating in order to focus on ourselves. We must stay on that path. no matter how unhappy these other people are. Plain and simple, y'all. Oh boy. All right, I got some thank yous to give. Monica Gregory, thank you for your super sticker and your support from my channel. Ozzy Edwards, thank you. Easy a subservient relationship not happening. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Thank you for your support. Let me see. Oops, I just went past one. Zenobaya, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. I think it's Zenobaya. Woo, Lisa, you gain going in today. Keep it up, daughter of Zion. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thank you for your support for my channel. Loveline Turner, again, thank you for your support. Shock It, thank you for your super chat. Okay, let's go back down a little more. Jeffrey Massey, thank you so much for your super sticker. Ozzy Edwards, it's called Deflection from the dirt they do to us. Yes. Yeah, that individual stuff. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a deflection. Ozzy Edwards, thank you. P.S. Pot Meat Kettle. Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you for your support, Tony Mist. They also run the NAACP and wrote I Have a Dream. Yes, and that's the point I made a little earlier. They are the ones behind Black Lives Matter and the NAACP and the Urban League too. The Urban League, I believe the Urban League is still in existence. It's still around. Yeah, they're behind that too. Yeah. One of many ancestral reflections, our righteous indignation has been earned. Yes. Yes. Free Bro 1. I'm sorry, Free Brew 1. My family and me have been on Gullah Geechee tours twice, and we love it. Gullah Jack is great. Yeah, I mean, that looks like a pretty nice tour. A lot of our people seem like they're interested in taking the tour because it's a lot of us on that bus. Sage Talk Media, thank you so much for your support for my channel. Hi, Lisa. Good morning. Check your email for the shipping info and PayPal. Okay, I will. I will. As soon as I'm done on this live, I will go and check my email. Thank you. Thank you very much for your support for my channel. And Gloria, thank you so much for your super sticker. Yeah, I don't know, y'all. It just seems like, I don't know. We just seem to be the whipping boy for everybody these days. And it's just annoying to me that it's like that. It's very annoying. Is like everybody got a beef with us and we have done nothing to them, but everybody got a beef with us. So it's almost like if you don't do what I say, we got a problem with you. Well, I mean, you gonna have to get past that do what I say stuff because you ain't gonna get nowhere with that these days. Mhm. Yeah, they are. It is an obsession. It is. And I thought I thought the obsession was a lot of it was with white people, but I'm now learning it is with all of these groups. This obsession is way bigger than I ever imagined. I thought for a long time it was just, the Caucasians that had the obsession. Y'all, it's all of them. All of them are obsessed with us. This obsession is huge. It's huge, and it's not just limited to one group. That's what I am learning. Mhm. Yeah, you know? Yeah. It's I bet if she was on the bus with a bunch of Asians or East Indians, this conversation would never have come up. She wouldn't have had no beef with them. It's just our people. Do you all remember that other Jewish woman that said the problem they were having was with the youth? Do y'all remember that? They were having a whole meeting, and those were Jews. They were having a whole meeting about our youth. A whole meeting they were having about the youth. I mean, come on. You're not you don't care about us. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Y'all, yes, you do. You don't have whole meetings about another group of people and it don't mean nothing. That's a load of bull. Oh, it means a lot. Hmm. Yeah, I y'all Kells 517, apparently we are rent free in their heads worldwide. And I'm just learning this now, just from all this experience with the Mexicans, the Palestinians, the Arabs, the East Indians, the Asians. Did I miss somebody that addressed us and I left them out? Because they all see they all got us on their minds. And if you don't believe it, just go out there and look at the multitude of videos that have been made. It is so many, it's not even funny. But one video I haven't seen is our people getting on video saying, where's the East Indians at? Where you guys at? Or where's the Asians at? Or you Mexicans, where are y'all? Where I haven't seen one of my people put a video out like that. But I've seen videos from each and every one of you that you've put out about us. Mhm. Yeah. Unbelievable. It almost make you think if we weren't here, who would they be targeting and obsessing over? Just asking for a friend. All right, y'all. I have burnt your ear off for over an hour. So let me do these last few. Thank you. Sage Talk Media. Thank you again for the super chat. If we were no longer marching, no one can tag along and take our benefits anymore. Revelation 18, verse 4, come from among them and separate. Amen. Laura Turner, thank you so much for the super sticker. So I hope I did not miss anybody. And if I did, I am sorry. I did not miss you on purpose. I absolutely didn't. MC2, the X Project, thank you for the 17-month membership. They're obsessed with us because they know we move mountains, but they hate us at the same time. They're parasites still trying to piggyback off us. They fear us, yet want to be us. Delusional. Yes. Yes. I know a lot of people would definitely agree with what you wrote. Yes. So, y'all, I want to thank you for being here. Yes, it was a good live. It was. I agree with that. This was good. Thank you for being here. And I have another live coming up around 3, so I hope to see each and every one of you there. All right, and I do wanna make an announcement. Now, where I am today, it is 94 degrees, and quite a few of you had ordered the botana oil and the pomade, which in hot temperatures outside, like 94 degrees, or in a back of a mail truck that's very hot, it will melt. So I'm just letting you know, if it comes to you melted, just put it in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes. It should firm right back up. All right. So I just want to say that because some of you are getting butter, some of you are getting botana oil, and some are getting pomade. So just place it in the refrigerator if it melted. Okay. So I will see you all around 3. Have a wonderful afternoon. Shalom, family.